Hello everyone, and welcome to Philosophy 2000 OLA, The Meaning of Life. My name is Carl Ladroot, and I'm going to be your instructor this term. Now, today's video is going to be fairly short. I'm just going to talk about some of the basics in the course, what it's going to look like overall, draw your attention to a few of the documents that I've posted today on our Moodle site. I'm going to be posting some more content to that Moodle site tomorrow. I'm going to be posting another video tomorrow going through some of the content that's up there. So my aim today is really just to give you some sense of what this course is going to look like, how it's going to be run, and what kinds of responsibilities you're going to have if you want to successfully complete the course. So first and foremost, the two most important documents I've put up on the website today are the syllabus and the schedule for the course. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up a copy of the syllabus here to share with you. So I'm going to be posting videos such as this one, typically Monday through Thursday afternoons while our course is running. I'll try to keep the posting time fairly consistent. Today I'm running a little bit later than I had hoped for, but I will try to make sure that content is going up daily so you can pace yourself as you want. Now, this course is going to be run asynchronously, so you can work through the content at your own pace, at least to some degree. There are going to be some due dates you need to keep in mind, so you can structure your engagement with the course around those. So let's go ahead and just take a look at the syllabus here as a way of structuring what it is I have to tell you. So hopefully, if I'm doing everything right at this point, I'll be up in the corner in the video and we'll have the syllabus in behind us here. Now, what we've got on the syllabus, so I'm not going to actually read everything that's on there. I encourage you, read the document. It's effectively our contract for the course. It explains really the nuts and bolts of it, how the different pieces are going to fit together, how your grade's going to be calculated, what you're required to do, and so on. So just taking a look at it here, I've got my name up at the top. There's my email address, my ULEF email. Please feel free to contact me via email. I'll try to get back to you within 24 hours during the week. I may or may not be on it on the weekends. My aim is to not work very much on the weekends this summer. That's my goal. So if you're trying to get a hold of me via email, I'll try to get back to you within a day during the week. And if it's on the weekends, it might take me a couple of days. If you email me, Friday night, it might be Monday before I get back to you. That is the best email to get a hold of me at, and I encourage you to use your own ULEF email to get a hold of me if you want to send me an email. I've also got a phone number here. This is my office line on the university campus. If you call that line, I'm not going to pick up on it because I'm not on the campus, but if you leave me a message there, that message should go to my voicemail, and the voicemail will then email me the message. So if you really want to get a hold of me to tell me something, but for whatever reason, you can't send me an email or you don't want to, if you call that line, I should get whatever message it is you send me. But I'm unlikely to get the message any faster than if you just send me an email. So if you have to choose between phone or email and you can do either, I recommend just sending me an email. Now, I'm going to hold virtual office hours from 3 to 4 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays every week. I'm going to hold those via Zoom. So what I'm going to do, and I'm still figuring out how some of these pieces are going to fit together a little bit. I'm going to set up a recurring Zoom meeting, and I'm going to post the link for it and the information for that on Moodle. So I'll go ahead and do that tomorrow, if not later today. So there will be a link there. If you've got the Zoom program, basically you can just click the link or punch in the information. You'll be able to come access office hours where you can talk to me. I'm also happy to talk with you outside of those office hours. I have a fairly flexible schedule. So if you ever want to get a hold of me, you want to talk about an assignment or anything in the course that isn't very clear to you, I'm very happy to talk with you. Just send me an email. This is probably the easiest way to do it. Send me an email, suggest a time you'd like to meet. I'll email you back and let you know if that works, and then we can set up the details of how we get together on Zoom. If that doesn't work, I'll try to propose some alternative times and we can try to figure something out. Now, after that key information, we've got the course description here. Presumably, you've already seen that somewhere if you signed up for the course, perhaps not. Go ahead and take a quick read of that. So you can access this document, exactly this document, just in PDF form, is up on Moodle already. So read through it there. Now, in terms of course objectives, what are we aiming to do in this course? Well, ultimately, what I aim to do is we're going to start talking about really the basics of philosophical argumentation. What is philosophy? What is it that philosophers do? The recommended background for this course is Introduction to Philosophy, or Phil 1000, but you don't absolutely have to have that, and I anticipate that several of you won't have it. So we're going to spend a little bit of time this week, in the next couple of days, talking about what philosophy is and what it is philosophers do. After that, we're going to get into really the key aim of this course, which is really working through several views on the meaning of life. That's ultimately the topic we're interested in. So this is kind of a topics course in philosophy. We've got one sort of big question: what is the meaning of life? And we're going to look at a number of different responses to that question. So a number of alternative views on what the meaning of life really is. By the end of the course, you might be a little bit sick of thinking about the meaning of life, because we're going to be focusing so exhaustively on that topic. But we're going to go through an awful lot of content that fits together in what I think is a pretty interesting way. Now, ultimately, what are you going to do in this course? So there's those course objectives, sort of big picture, what are we going to do? But by the end of the course, what is it you'll have done? Well, you're going to have become familiar with the arguments and views of the philosophers we examined, so you're going to have to do a fair bit of reading. I'm going to provide some lectures that explain some of the key concepts and try to make some of that work a little bit more accessible. You're going to have read and understood some difficult texts. Reading philosophy isn't always easy. Trying to actually understand what's going on can be quite the challenge in and of itself. So by taking this course and engaging with the material, you can aim to increase your own reading comprehension, your ability to engage with difficult work. You'll have critically assessed the texts and arguments we have studied. So I don't want you to just passively sit and learn a bunch of things and tell me what you learned on a test or something like that. I want you to really think about the texts you're studying. I want you to engage with them. And in doing so, you're going to have to clearly express your views in writing. You're also going to critically and respectfully engage with your peers. We're going to talk a little bit more about that in a few moments. And finally, by the time you're done the course, you'll have formulated your own view on what the meaning of life is in a clearer way than before you took it. Or at least I certainly hope so, because if you get to the end of the course and you haven't learned anything and you've got no clear answer to the question, what's the meaning of life, I've probably failed in what I've set out to do. Now, required text for the course. There's one text that you'll require. It's this one right here, The Meaning of Life, 4th edition. It's by Oxford University Press. It's edited by Stephen M. Kahn and E.D. Klemke. So you can get this book through the university bookstore. You can also order it online. You can also access an electronic copy of it through Oxford University Press. They've got a particular system. If you go to the website that I linked in my email earlier today, there is a way you can rent that text. I think you can maybe even buy it if you're willing to just get it electronically. So you'll need that text. We're going to start getting into that later this week. You'll definitely need the text by next week at some point. But this is the one book you're going to have to buy. You are going to have ready access to it. We're going to be going through a considerable portion of it as well. By the end of the course, I'm going to ask you to read probably something like 70 or even 80% of that book. So this isn't one of those cases where I'm asking you to buy a very expensive book and then we're only going to read a very small part of it. The book isn't too much money. I don't think it's an unreasonable amount of money. And we're going to be going through quite a lot of it. So you're going to need access to that text. You're also going to need access to Moodle. There's going to be some additional readings put up there, some things that I've written myself. We're going to be looking at some of those in the next couple of days. There's also going to be a few readings up there that are scans or links to other information on the internet or something like that. So there will be some additional readings on top of what's in the book, but the book is the only thing you're going to have to buy. You'll have to have some kind of relatively stable internet connection to at least be able to access the various course materials. So I suppose that would be one other cost as well if you don't already have a ready internet connection. Now, as I already mentioned, the course is going to make use of Moodle. We're going to make fairly extensive use of Moodle in terms of distributing documents, assignment instructions. We're going to be making use of the forums on Moodle as well, so we'll take a look at that in a moment. I'm also going to be posting some further instructions on that tomorrow. So make sure you've got access to Moodle. We're not going to be using any features that are terribly advanced, or at least I don't think so. So it's not like you need to be a Moodle wizard to be able to successfully take this course, but you will need to be able to access Moodle on a fairly regular basis. I'm also going to be posting videos like this one to my YouTube channel, so you're going to need to be able to access videos on YouTube. You don't have to make an account or keep track of what you watch, so I'm not going to be you know, trying to make you prove maybe that you've watched all the lecture videos or something like that. If you have trouble watching videos on YouTube, please contact me, send me an email. We can talk about potential alternatives or workarounds, things that we might be able to do to make the course material more accessible for you. It will be easiest if you can watch these videos on YouTube. One final point, just before we move into the course assessment and what you're going to have to actually do in the course, is in this course, I'm asking you to engage critically with your peers, so I'm going to ask you to be engaging with each other in an argumentative fashion, and if you stay in the course, you're at least tacitly agreeing to respect others, even if you disagree with their views. So it is quite fine to disagree with people and provide reasons why they might be wrong or why some other view might be a better view. What I don't want to see and what I just really don't want to deal with, and I don't think any of you probably really want to deal with it either, is a disrespectful environment. So it's one thing to critically engage with somebody else and say, hey, I think maybe your view on this matter might be wrong and here's why. It's quite another thing to engage in name calling or disrespectful behavior just because you disagree with someone. And we're going to talk a little bit more about this in the next couple of days when we talk about philosophical argumentation, what it is exactly we're trying to do here. Now, the thing I'm sure many of you have been waiting for, the assessment scheme in the course. What is it that you have to do? How am I going to calculate your grades? What's going to be worth what? So here's the big reveal. There's a 20% participation grade in this course. That's a considerable amount of participation, but I'm going to ask you to work for it. That's going to be done through forums on Moodle. We'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment. I'm also going to, like I said, post a document with further instructions soon. The various forums that we put up on Moodle as well will have some instruction built right into them. So it's not like I'm just going to ask you, engage in forums on Moodle, and I'll just make up some kind of grade. There's going to be a lot more concrete detail, but what is it exactly that I want you to do? How is it I'm going to be awarding points for that? There's also an optional argument assignment. This is the, so there will be a forum due later this week. It's going to be a very easy forum to engage with. It's really going to be a kind of meet and greet, a way to explore how to effectively use forums on Moodle and so on. I'll talk more about that soon, and I'll have that forum up and activated tomorrow so you can start using it. This argument assignment is due on May 11th. That's next Monday. It's an optional assignment. It's a fairly short assignment. You don't have to do it, but it's a way to, in a sense, practice engaging in an argument, get a little bit of early feedback on how I grade and just how some of the various systems in this course work. So that's the first thing. There are then 2 critical responses, and I'll explain what those are in a few moments, that will each be worth 20% of your final grade. So 40% of your final grade will be made up by those critical responses. And then lastly, there's going to be a final essay in the course in lieu of a final exam. That's going to be worth either 35 or 40% of your final grade. The difference is dependent on whether or not you do the optional argument assignment. So that participation grade will be made up by participating in weekly forums on Moodle. The overall general structure of these forums is that you will have some particular sort of topic or set of readings to engage in, and you'll have to formulate effectively a few good sentences, a very short paragraph, to initially post by Friday at 5 p.m. So I'll be posting content throughout the week, Monday through Thursday afternoons. By the end of Friday, I'll want you to have posted a few sentence engagement with the material. Effectively, you're going to have to briefly explain something, cite some particular area in the text, make note of what author is making what sort of point, take up your own position on it, and just briefly indicate what reason or set of reasons support your position. I'm not asking you to actually develop a full argument, rather to identify something in the reading that you can engage with argumentatively, state a position, and what reasons or reason might support it. So really, it's practice in explaining a bit of the course material and posing a thesis, right? Now, you have to do that by the end of Friday. By the end of the following Monday at 5 p.m., I'll ask you to be engaging with your peers' work. That can take the form of asking a good question or providing them an additional reason why they might be right, or posing an objection, some kind of difficulty that might be presented to their position that they should consider. Ultimately, the engagement in the forums is designed to do a couple of things. One, to get you into the practice of thinking about material in this argumentative fashion, being able to identify topics within it, formulate a thesis, a clear thesis, and then get some engagement to get you thinking about the position that you're trying to take up. You can then use that material being developed in the forums in the critical responses and ultimately in the final essay. Engaging in the forums is also designed to get you in the practice of respectfully and constructively engaging critically with other people. When we have arguments, we try to reason with each other. Sometimes it can get kind of nasty, and you often see this sort of thing in the news or sorts of debates. But in terms of an actual skill to have, it's very important to be able to respectfully disagree with people and point to additional reasons or counter reasons to why we might want to do something or believe something. That can be a very sort of useful skill to have. And ultimately what I'm going to get you doing in this course is get you trying to explain yourself and your reasons as clearly as possible. Now that argument assignment, it's a fairly short assignment. It's only a page or two when it's going to be complete. There are instructions for that and a sample assignment that will be posted up on Moodle. Effectively, what you need to do in that piece is create an argument on anything, any topic whatsoever. All that really matters is that you actually make the argument. So it can be about what to have for dinner. It can be an argument about whether or not you think you should stay in this course. It can be an argument about anything, just about anything. So that argument assignment does not need to draw on our course material. In particular, it doesn't have to draw on anything in our actual textbook. Rather, in the next couple of days, we're going to be talking some about arguments and what those look like and what they're made up of. So really, you have to demonstrate an understanding of what philosophical argumentation is like. You have to construct an argument and sort of pick it apart and identify what the pieces of it are. Really what matters is that there's an argument there, it's clear, the parts are clearly identified. That's really all that matters. The content of the argument doesn't really matter so much at all. Those critical responses, there are 4 due dates listed here. So this is getting a little bit further into the course. We have this condensed schedule. It's only 6 weeks, so the course is going to go by fairly quickly. So that's one thing to keep in mind. On May 18th, 25th, June 1st, and June 8th, there are due dates where you can submit a critical response. Critical responses are 2 to 3 page engagements with the material. Like I said, the material that comes out of the forums and your thinking there and your interaction with your peers can contribute to what you do in a critical response, but you don't have to. So there's no necessary connection between what goes on in the forums and the responses. Though my advice is to use the forums as a kind of testing ground for ideas and then take the feedback you get from your peers to write up a more fully articulated version of an argument. So in the forum, you'll post a thesis and then engage with some people about why that might be a good idea or a bad idea that you're posing. In the critical response, you're taking the time to fully write it up. So you're not only stating the thesis, you're taking the time to clearly articulate the reasons in favor of it, to try to elaborate your position, to provide details, to really actually make the argument, not just indicate what that argument might be. Because ultimately that's what a thesis is. A thesis points to an argument, but isn't really making it yet. So the critical response is going to be an opportunity to engage in some analytic writing. You're going to analyze something going on in some piece of our course material, take up some kind of argumentative position on it, support your position with some good reasons, make some use of the text. There are further instructions on the critical response, including a sample response to give you some idea of what that should look like, posted on Moodle as well. You can complete all 4 critical responses. You can submit responses on all 4 of those due dates, and I will count the grades from your best 2 responses toward your final grade in this course. You can also opt to complete less than all 4 responses. You can just complete 3 and I'll still take your best 2. You can do 2 and I'll just count both of those towards your final grade. You can also complete just 1, but then there's going to be a 20% hole in your final grade. So it's not advisable to do fewer than 2 responses. Finally, that last essay is going to involve dealing with more material than the critical responses. So those responses are something like 2 to 3 pages. There's a specific word count on the instructions, so take a look at that. I'll be posting instructions on the final essay a little bit later in the course, maybe later this week or potentially next week. It's going to involve you engaging with a few different elements of the course material, explaining how those elements are similar or different, and ultimately trying to defend what you think is the best view on the meaning of life. So I'm going to be asking you to articulate what you think the best view in the course was, and then to engage with that. So the final essay is going to be longer than those critical responses. It's probably going to be something like 5 to 7 pages. I'm going to be asking you to pack in a fair bit of material into them, but ultimately what you're going to be doing in the final essay is going to be quite similar to what you can and should be doing in the critical responses. So there's going to be some continuity there. It's not like I'm going to be asking you to do something absolutely brand new that you've had no experience in the course yet. Rather, what I'm going to be asking you to do in that final essay is to take the skills you've already been developing in the forums and on the critical responses and really put them to work making a longer, larger, more complex final product. That final paper will be due on June 17th at the end of the course. Now, I've pretty much just explained, looking back at the document here, I've explained pretty much everything that's going on in the sections below that assessment scheme. Like I said, there's going to be further instructions on each element of these assessments posted on Moodle, either already posted or going to be posted relatively soon. So if you are still wondering about some of the details based on what I just said here, don't worry, this isn't the final word on what these various assignments require you to do. There's much more detailed instruction online. And as I said earlier, if you have questions after you read through the course documents, for instance, you're still not really sure what exactly to do in a critical response or a forum post or something like that, feel free to contact me. Swing by my virtual office hours or send me an email and we can talk about it. You shouldn't, in this course, ever be in a situation where you just have no idea what it is I'm asking you to do or how it is I'm going to be evaluating what it is you do. Of course, you might still be wondering, after you know some of that information, whether or not what you're doing is of high quality or not, whether or not it's going to get you the grade you want. Of course, there might be that kind of situation. We can talk about that as well. But you should have a pretty firm understanding of what it is I'm asking you to do by the time you read through the various documents that I provide you. And I want to be talking more about these various components in some of the other videos as well. So this one, again, is sort of an overall introduction to the course and what it is I'm going to ask you to do in it. I'll talk more specifically about forum posts and critical responses in the final essay as we go through, and the argument assignment as well. Now, for the critical responses, the argument assignment, the essay, I'm going to ask you to submit those to turnitin.com. If you take a look at this section on the syllabus, it gives you the information you need to be able to enroll in our course on that site. The instructions for the argument assignment, the critical response, and the essay will also have the information you need to enroll in Turnitin listed at the top. So make sure you make an account. Don't wait until you go to try to submit your first assignment to try to make an account. If you've got any issues, try to make that account early. If you've got a problem, come and talk to me about it. One thing to keep in mind, and I'm going to note this on the various instructions as well, when you go to submit your file to Turnitin, whenever you go to do that, you have to confirm it. So you've got to pick what file you want to upload, you've got to click upload, it thinks for a minute, and then you have to hit a confirmation button. After you've confirmed it, you can get a digital receipt from Turnitin. Make sure you get that receipt, because if you fail to press that confirm button after it's uploaded and thought about it for a moment, your submission hasn't actually been finalized. So you've got to make sure you go through all the steps and get the congratulations, you've successfully submitted your document message, and you get that turn it in receipt. It's only when you have that receipt that you've actually made a submission, you've actually given me the assignment. So make sure you get that. Now for late policy, I'll accept written work, the argument assignment, the critical responses, and that final essay up to 4 days late or 96 hours. So for the first 24 hours that something comes in late, there's no grade penalty, but I'm going to be giving you fewer comments. So I'm just going to spend less time giving you feedback on the piece. Now, I'll always give you at least some feedback on what you give me to explain what it was in the piece that made it deserve the grade that it received. There's also a rubric that I'll always fill out. It's a qualitative rubric. You can see that on the various assignment instructions. So you'll always get some feedback. You're just going to get less feedback. You're going to get a little bit less of my time if you submit it late. From 24 to 96 hours late, there's a 4% penalty that accrues for every extra 24 hours late. So if you submit something 40 hours late, you're going to receive fewer comments plus a 4% grade penalty. If you submit something 90 hours late, you're going to receive fewer comments and a 12% grade penalty. If you go beyond 96 hours late, you've got to contact me and give me a good reason why I should still accept the assignment. If you are experiencing difficulties getting your work completed on time, please do reach out to me. I understand that there's an awful lot going on in the world right now. There's a lot of uncertainty and a lot of unusual circumstances. So I've designed this course to give you some options in terms of when you want to try to get some of the work done, but I understand that there can still be unexpected events that come up, and even perhaps expected difficulties. You might be taking this course, you want to make sure you get a course credit, but you also know you're going to have some recurring constraints on your time that might interfere with your ability to get some of this work done by the due dates that have been imposed. If you think you're going to have any problem, or you run into an issue that you weren't expecting that poses some sort of problem for you getting work done according to the schedule I'm providing, please contact me. Send me an email. Come by virtual office hours. There is some flexibility on due dates throughout the course. The final paper is a little bit trickier because the final grade deadline for the course is not too long after that paper is due. But if you're experiencing difficulty getting your work done, please contact me. The worst I can do is say, no, I'm sorry, whatever reason it is you're providing isn't a legitimate reason for me to move any of the dates around or something like that. And then you wind up in the same position you're already in. It's not like things can get any worse by reaching out to me. So please, 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 if you have difficulty in doing anything in this course, reach out to me, ask for some help, explain what the situation is, and we can try to figure out what to do from there. Now, for the forum posts, this normal late policy of up to 24 or 96 hours, that policy doesn't apply to the forum posts, in part because what's going on in those forum posts are that you're trying to engage with your peers. And so if you're doing that several days late, in some sense, the class discussion will have already moved on from there. So if you are having difficulty getting the forum posts completed, again, contact me and we can talk about what sort of accommodation or adjustment we might be able to work out. Now, I already mentioned, feel free to send me an email. I recommend using your institutional account, your University of Lethbridge account, in part because I've never had an email from a Lethbridge account not get delivered. I have had emails from other sorts of accounts, like a Gmail or something, not come through because it gets blocked by spam filters or something like that. So use your University of Lethbridge account. Feel free to send me emails. Like I said, I'll try to get back to them within 24 hours, at least during the work week, and then I may or may not get back to you on the weekends. Now, one other point here, by staying in the course, I expect you to be an active learner. What do I mean by that? Well, I just mean that you're actually going to read all the documentation I give you. You're going to watch the videos. You're going to participate in the forum activities. You're going to do the written work. You're going to read the text. You're going to be engaged with the course, right? So I'll put it in negative terms. What am I not expecting? I'm not expecting you to contact me in week 4 of the course and say, I haven't read any of the instructions. I haven't watched any of the videos. Really, I don't know what's going on, but I really still like this credit. So what do I need to do at this point? What have I missed, and so on. You'll have missed an awful lot by that point. So be actively involved, keep tabs on the course. Because this course is delivered asynchronously, we don't have any set meeting times or anything like that. I fully expect that people are going to work through this material at different paces. The real guideposts for you are the various due dates in the course, including the due dates to engage with the course material on forums and the due dates for the written work. Otherwise, if you want to watch a bunch of material at 3 o'clock in the morning, be my guest, right? If you want to set aside 1 or 2 days a week where you intensively work through the material, okay, great. If you want to space it out so you're engaging the material for a few hours a day, that works as well. So try to find a schedule that works for you, and my suggestion is to try to set up something fairly regular and stick with it. Now, the academic integrity section, there's sort of a whole bit here. I'm going to sum it up very succinctly by just saying, don't plagiarize. What does that mean? Well, we'll talk a little bit more about that on the next few videos as well, but that means giving credit where credit is due. So if you use somebody else's exact words, just acknowledge that through providing quotation marks and enclosing the words that you've used. If you're referring to somebody else's idea, give them credit for it, right? Make use of the text, cite the text, acknowledge when somebody else is giving you a good idea. That's really what's going on. If you make use of any resources in this course beyond our course text and your own thinking, you look things up on the internet, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But you have to acknowledge when you're doing so. Really, plagiarism is the failure to acknowledge the use of somebody else's words or ideas. Or at least that's the part of it that really matters for what we're doing in this course. Now, for the grading scale in this course, I've got, depending on the grading scales you've encountered in other courses, the grade scale here is fairly demanding in terms of what will get you, an A versus a B. It can look about sort of 10% higher than in other places. Because all of the work in this course is written work, I feel justified in having this sort of increased scale. This does not mean that it's impossible to get an A. Rather, it means that when you've done something that's of A quality, you've produced a really good critical response, a really good essay, that just means it's going to be receiving a higher numerical score than it would be if the scale were different. So look, on the scale, an A is a 93 to a 96. If you give me a critical response that is of A quality, you're going to get a grade in that range. If the grade scale had been different, that an A was 85 to 89, then if you gave me something, a written product of the same quality, it would have gotten a numerical score in that range instead of this higher grade range. So if you see the scale and you look at the numbers, you say, wow, that seems really demanding. In part, that's just a result of the fact that we don't have tests, and tests demand a different kind of scoring to be used with them, because really what I'm looking at is the quality of your work in this course. The actual numbers that get assigned are in some sense a little bit of a secondary consideration. If you've got any questions about what it is I'm trying to say right here, feel free to contact me and I can try to explain myself a little bit more clearly. But I will be giving you numerical scores throughout the course, and you can see what that means in terms of grade letters based on the scale right here. Now, just a couple final notes. If you have any accommodations through the ALC, feel free to tell me about them. They should also tell me about any of those things. Given that there aren't any tests in this course, I imagine quite a few accommodations that related to tests just aren't really going to matter. If you do have any other accommodations or you have any issues concerning accessing videos or seeing imagery or text on those sorts of things, or any other sort of accessibility issues at all, please feel free to contact me. Make sure I know about any of these things so I can make sure that I'm accommodating you as best I can. And just on a final note, if there is something unexpected that happens, the course structure might change at some point. I have no intention of deviating from what it is I've laid out here, but there is always that possibility, and if something bizarre or really unusual happens, there might be alterations to the overall course structure, but they should be done in such a way that they don't disadvantage anybody. And I will try to stick to the spirit of that really the best I can. So if there are any unforeseen course changes that occur, I'll communicate that to you as clearly as I can. Try to give you some advanced warning, as well as give you a chance to give me some input about whether or not you think the changes are fair and whether or not they are, in fact, disadvantaging you. Now, so we've gone through the syllabus. Let's go ahead and take a brief look at the schedule, and then I think we'll stop this video here, and we'll get into more detail about a number of things tomorrow. So here's a quick look at the schedule, again, up on Moodle in PDF form. So on the left-hand column here, so over here we've got really, I've laid it out by week rather than day, and I plan to go through the content listed in the middle column really in order. So week 1, that's this week, really starting today, May 4th, running through the end of this week, Friday. So there's what we're going to go through in the middle column, and then there's the assessment over on the right-hand column. So what's due? What sort of product do you need to be making? So today we're really just going through the syllabus, the schedule, looking at some of this information, and we'll go through some of the other relevant information, like what do you need to do on the forums. I'll be covering that tomorrow in a video there and posting up some instructions as well. And then we're going to be doing a couple of things yet this week. So up on Moodle, on our website there, under the introductory materials, I've put up a few documents. What is philosophy? A brief introduction to philosophical argumentation, and the use of language. Now those are 3 documents written by me. They really give you a bit of a sense of what goes on in philosophy. If you've already done philosophy courses, if you've taken Phil 1000 or some other philosophy course, probably those documents aren't really going to be essential for you to read. If you don't have any experience doing philosophy up until this point, or at least you don't have any sort of experience doing it as a course or something, I highly recommend reading those documents. They're going to give you a much better sense of what it is to do philosophy and what it is I'm going to be expecting out of you in this course. So the What is Philosophy document is really just what philosophy is generally. In my video tomorrow, I'm going to talk about that, just to give you some sense of what's going on there. A brief introduction to philosophical argumentation and the use of language. Both of those are a little bit more sort of practical in the sense that they give you an idea about philosophical methodology, as well as some tips on how to make good philosophical writings. Ultimately, that's what I'm asking you to do in this course. And as you're going to see, really it's about producing arguments, understanding arguments, evaluating arguments, right? It's really about reasoning. That's really what philosophy is when we get right down to it. So on Wednesday, I'll be posting videos about that brief introduction to philosophical argumentation and the use of language. We've also got the introduction to the course reader, the question of the meaning of life. That's just pages 1 to 4. So whenever I've got chapters and pages listed, like I do down here, that's out of the course reader. So then on the tail end of the week, so this coming Thursday, I'm going to endeavor to post a video and a set of lecture slides that go through that introduction to the course reader, as well as the first 2 chapters in the piece, so pages 7 to 22, and those are pieces by Leo Tolstoy and Quinn, Philip L. Quinn. So we'll try to go through those. I'll get the documentation for that up Thursday, get the video lecture up. I will also be posting the slides that I go through in those video lectures, so you can use the slides as well as discussion questions I'm going to post that can get you thinking about what you might want to post on the forum. I'm going to be putting that material up as well. And as I'm developing material and putting it up, I'm going to be explaining more of what's going on in this course as we move forward. Now, if you look down through the rest of this piece, you see on a week-by-week basis what chapters it is we're going to be looking at, what the readings are going to be like. And over on the side here, you can see what's due. So in this first week, there's, as I mentioned, really the first thing you have to do in this course, I'm going to be opening a forum discussion tomorrow. I'm posting some instructions on what I want from you. The very first forum we're going to do is going to be, in some sense, very easy. It's going to be a little bit of a meet and greet. I'm just going to ask you to introduce yourself to, at least a couple of other people in the course. Share a few things about yourself. I'm not going to ask you to share any, intimately personal information or anything like that, but just, some basic questions. I'll put up a little list of questions that you might answer in your initial post where you introduce yourselves. This is going to give me a chance just to get to know who's taking this course and, you know, what kind of experience you've had, say, in philosophy. So one thing I'll ask is if you've taken any philosophy courses before. Not only is that, I think, a pretty safe sort of question to ask you, it's also pretty useful for me, because if I know that, in fact, yeah, you know, all sorts of you have done philosophy before, then maybe I'll keep my remarks on what philosophy is fairly brief. If it turns out that actually quite a few of you have never taken a philosophy course before, that's okay, don't be embarrassed, it's fine. I might spend just a little bit more time, go into a little bit more detail, and try to gear some of the comments I make throughout the course to the audience that I actually have here. So I'll ask you to do a forum in that usual format. This is also just to help get you used to what we're going to do. By Friday, this coming Friday at 5 p.m., I'll ask you to make a fairly short forum post, a few sentences really, you know, maybe a short paragraph or something like that, not too long. Then by next Monday, so a week today at 5 p.m., I'll ask you to engage with a couple of your classmates on that forum as well. Then we're going to have that recurring in a weekly kind of fashion, though starting in week 2. So next week, you're going to have to be engaging with the course materials rather than just, you know, getting to know each other a little bit. It's going to be really trying to put together arguments, put together a thesis, articulate some reasons, and so on. Now, as I mentioned earlier, next Monday, there's also that optional argument assignment due. After that, the critical responses, so starting week 3, critical responses start becoming due every Thursday. So every Thursday in week 3, 4, 5, and 6, there's a critical response deadline. Again, you can choose only to do 2, you can do 3, or you can do all 4 of those critical responses. I'll endeavor to get those back to you by early the following week, so you can take some time to look at my feedback and think about how you can incorporate that into your next written product. One thing I will state at this point, on Turnitin, I'll have separate drop boxes for critical responses submitted on time versus one submitted late. I will grade and return the on-time responses before I grade and return the late ones. So if you want to get feedback from me that you can incorporate into your next written product, try to get your response in on time, because if you get it in on time, I'll give you more feedback, and you'll get that feedback sooner so that you can actually act on it to make your next written product stronger. Then there's, in the very last week of the course, the very final forum will take place on Friday of week 6, so on June 12th, you'll post your last initial response on the forum. You'll have your last responses to those initial posts on June 15th, which is really the last day of class. On that day, we'll take a look at just a couple of last pieces that you may or may not want to incorporate into your final paper. You don't have to, so you're going to get to choose what pieces you want to put in that final essay. So it's not like you have to wait until June 15th to work on it. You can be working on it before that. That final essay is due on June 17th. And as I mentioned when we were discussing the late policy, I will accept that final essay late in accordance with that late policy on the syllabus. So I'll accept it up to 4 days late. Okay, so that's overall the schedule. I haven't gone through everything on there. Again, we'll talk a little bit more about this as we move forward in the course. And you will see that our Moodle site is organized according to the various topics indicated in bold here on the schedule rather than in a weekly fashion. Because, for instance, we look at theistic responses, you know, to the question, what's the meaning of life? So theistic views, we're going to be looking at that later this week and into the following week. And then some weeks we have 2 topics, some weeks there's 3 topics. I've organized the course topically. So I suppose the last thing I want to do here is we'll just pull up the website here just to take a quick look at. And so presumably if you're watching this video, you've probably already accessed the course website. So you can start here as you should. We've got the syllabus and the schedule. I'll be putting the assignment instructions right in this area. Those introductory readings I was talking about that we'll be taking a look at tomorrow and the day after are right here. I have one useful link to my YouTube channel down here at this point. That's where you can come back on a regular basis to see my video lectures. I may also post some other links in different parts of the course as well. And then we've got all the various topics in the course as we're going to work through them. Now, if you look at them right now, you're going to see that they're a little bit barren because I'm still putting information up and I've still got documents to post. There's quite a bit of logistical work in putting together an online course like this. So I've got all sorts of different documents that I'm going to have to post. I will be getting up quite a bit more content tomorrow, and that should take us through the end of this week. And then I'll be trying to get content up there proactively. So I'm hoping by the end of this week, I'll have content up there that'll take us right into next week. And then I should be filling in quite a bit of the course material, at least in the terms of documentation. As I said, Monday through Thursdays every week, I'll be recording and posting video lectures, sort of like this one, though we'll be actually getting into the course content and readings fairly soon. So I'll be trying to do that sort of 4 days a week in the afternoons, might be sort of mid-afternoon, late afternoon. I intend to be sort of doing the readings and putting together these videos a little earlier in the day. So you can expect those to be coming out sort of in that fashion. You know, Monday through Thursdays, there's going to be a new video coming out every day. I'll try to get that documentation up as well. So if you want to be trying to get ahead on some of the work and the readings and so on, you can, though the video lectures might lag behind a little bit. But my aim is that by the end of Thursday, you've really got all of the content, all the videos and documentation you need to be able to go through the material for the week. And then that gives you a little bit of time. So by the end of Friday, you post really a few good sentences. You demonstrate that you've really thought about and engaged with at least some part of the material from that week. And then you take a little bit of time between Friday and the end of the following Monday. So you've got sort of 3 days there to then take a little bit of time to try to constructively and critically engage with some of your peers. So I'll be providing some more information, as I mentioned, tomorrow. I'll be posting some more assignment instructions and so on. I'll be posting another video where we go through really what philosophy is, as well as a little bit more detail about what it is I'm asking you to do in terms of forum posts and argument assignment and so on. So until then, I hope you're doing very well. It's nice to meet your virtual acquaintance. And I'll see you, well, I guess not. I guess you'll see me tomorrow. And maybe I'll see you if you stop by my virtual office hours. So nice to meet your virtual acquaintance for the first time. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.